Are you ready?
I am ready.
Are they ready?
They're ready. All right. Hey, I want to give a shout out to our good friend here, Music to My Ears. Thank you very much. He says, Mike Schilt getting a job 1 month after, quote, retirement is a middle finger to the Padres organization and fans. Don't we deserve a real explanation? I bet it was Machado's immaturity, or he was making half the salary of his coaches.
Well, I don't know it was that. I firmly believe it was burnout. But I don't understand the internal treatment of all the subordinates. And this exact same thing happened in St. Louis because that story leaked out after Schilt resigned in San Diego. You know, you're hiring these coaches to be on your staff and you're trusting with them. And why are you so tough and cruel and angry at them all the time? And that's the substance that came out of the Padre clubhouse, is that support staff just was at odds with Mike Schilt on everything that they tried to do to help him. And that's the exact same thing that suddenly came out of St. Louis is one of the reasons he suddenly disappeared despite 3 years of success. So good luck to him. He had a good run. We have to credit him for, I think his record was 181 and 143. Let's credit Schilt for the success in the dugout. I just don't understand the mental makeup of not working for people that you hired to want to bring your team.
Yeah, this whole story was weird, and he says, I just want to go home, man.
You want to sit on the beach chair.
Yeah, but he's clearly not going to do that.
Well, the hurricane coming to North Carolina, so probably, I don't know.
But it was just dumb, the whole thing. I mean, it's just the Padres have so much drama, and it doesn't matter how hard the ownership or Preller tries, nothing ever seems to work.
It's always something that goes off track.
Exactly. So moving on. All right, let's go up here near the top of the list. So we have another a donor that dropped in on us, and let's get him involved. Here's go to Matt. He goes, Baggerly reported the Giants won't spend money on Imai. San Francisco ownership apparently wants to spend on real estate. If true, I'd be furious if I were a Giants fan.
Well, I don't know. I keep hearing Imai is going to meet with San Francisco, and we'll just have to see. I think he kind of wants to pitch on the West Coast. I'm not sure because they've been talking conversation to Yankees and Mets, but he wants to go on the West Coast, I think, because it's much easier to get the Pacific Rim endorsements being a West Coast guy than being over there, which is a long way away from Japan. But he's got, he's coming. I think he's going to be here on December 3rd, which is Wednesday. Yeah, I think at that point in time, he's going to start actually making his face-to-face visits, and we'll see what Buster Posey does in San Francisco. It's a really intriguing story.
They want to spend on real estate. Are they talking about building like a condos and business offices?
Either that or expanding their footprint around that stadium and building more business entities that attune to the baseball fan.
Now, if I remember correctly, the stadium was privately financed, but the land was provided by the city of San Francisco. And I use land in quotes because it's on, I think, what do they call that? Landfill, right? Out there on by those piers. So I don't know. The Giants seem to be in a position that they're usually one of the bigger spending teams. They used to sell out all the time. I don't know why they're not all in on these big name free agents.
Well, they've lost their luster a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And they, at one point in time, 5 years ago in the Barry Bonds era, go-to place. It hadn't been that way lately. So we'll see what the next week brings. Again, baseball winter meetings start on Friday and go into next week. So there's going to be a lot of baseball to talk about. Hey, good to hear from you, Matt. Thank you.
All right, let's go here to our friend Casey, talk some USC Trojans. Hey, good afternoon, guys, and hope you both had a great Thanksgiving holiday. Hacksaw, since it looks like Lincoln Riley will be back next year, and if he don't get to the college playoff next year, does he go on the hot seat?
Sure. SC is not viewed in the same light it used to be. That coach is definitely not viewed. Maybe it's because he's not one of us. Maybe he's an outsider. He came from there, there in the Big 12, not here. Not a guy with Pac-10 heritage, not a Trojan per se. 9-3, that's a pretty good season, but you didn't get to the playoffs. So how good a season really is it? Isn't that a strange thing to say? It's like what we're dealing with here. 9-3 doesn't feel real good for San Diego State. I'll tell you, guarantee, I think 9-3 at USC that way doesn't feel very good for them.
Yeah. USC took a big step up in terms of competition.
Yeah.
I mean, going to the Big Ten, I don't think anyone expected them to kind of roll in and immediately be competitive with Ohio State.
And haven't run on the road in the Big Ten yet.
They haven't?
No.
So all 3 of their losses were on the road in the Big Ten?
No. But in terms of big games over the last 2 years,
okay.
No.
Well, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, SC, remember Lincoln Riley, when he went to Oklahoma, I remember he was the highest paid public employee in the state of Oklahoma, had this mansion right next to the state, to the University of Oklahoma. And then as part of his deal to come to SC, they bought him a house, here in Southern California, which that's millions of dollars right there. So he's cashing in just like these players are cashing in, moving around, Lee. But I think he might be near the end.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's got one more year. If they're not playoff bound next year, Case, I think you're very much correct. He's really on the hot seat.
All right, let's go to Callan. He goes, afternoon, gents. Bummed that it's over, but damn, what a fun ride that SDFC took us on. Can't wait for 2026. Also, when is the Insiders Group Christmas party? I want to do shots with you, damn it.
Yeah, John, when is the Christmas party up here at the castle? That would shortly be followed by your wife putting your ass on waivers.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's going to work too well here. We should cram everybody into the podcast studio.
Callum, unbelievable season. Tough decisions to be made. Tough decision as to what they're going to do with Chucky and where do they go next. But they stockpiled so many young players, played so many young players, especially on the back end. If you look at the roster and the age limits of those kids, for them to be this deep into the playoffs, that's quite an accomplishment.
That was a hell of a year.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody expected this at all. I mean, they were just talking about how it was such a Cinderella story the whole time. So I don't know. We all knew that San Diego was going to support an MLS team as soon as they got one. And they
never thought they'd be this good.
No one did. But it's been a feel good story. The stadium, they fill up that stadium for San Diego FC. Our Aztec friends need to do the same damn thing.
Aztec football. You're going to play in my Soccer City Stadium now.
All right, let's talk Aztec football. Let's go to Edgar. He says, STSU was robbed.
I don't think they got robbed. I mean, they got beat. They got out-schemed. I mean, what New Mexico did offensively by formation really screwed up San Diego State's defense. I thought New Mexico was as tough in the front, offensively and defensively, as San Diego State was. You couldn't say that all season long. Eventually, I just thought they got out tough. But the quarterback breakdowns really bother me. For Denegal, who was at Michigan for 3 years and practiced against really good defenses and then played live fire to make as many mistakes, and they fell apart. My God, what happened in overtime? I went crazy watching it. I had a whole ache in my heart at the end of that game, and I'm not an Aztec alum. I just felt really, really bad, and that does not feel like 9-3 football to me, sadly.
It does. It was awful. I mean, look right here. Here's a comment from Mike. His quarterback play was beyond bad. With their play selection, they can run the Wildcat.
Maybe they should run the Wildcat. I think they have to go back into the portal. They have to find a transfer quarterback. With apologies to Denegal. He's doing what he can do. He's a really good athlete, but there's no consistency to his passing game whatsoever. I mean, it's like a risk versus reward thing. And it's more risk when he's at quarterback trying to throw the football than there's a reward with him as your quarterback.
Yeah, we saw moments when he was pretty good, and he made some deep passes, and you're like, hey, here we go. This is like Aztec offense, Aztec fast. But then he's had moments where he looked a little bit, I should say, not confident, like a little hesitant, kind of waiting an extra beat.
Erratic.
Yeah, and then he kind of, runs out of gas there. But, New Mexico had all those trick plays up their sleeve, and the Aztecs fumbled and bumbled, their way through overtime. It was just crushing.
I mean, the push-tush fake handoff that became a 54-yard reverse run for a touchdown, I've never seen that.
That's like something you see in Pop Warner football, just something wacky.
Don't call Jason Eck, Pop Warner coach.
Oh, he's having a hell of a year.
9-3. New Mexico football, 9-3. And they beat them on the fake tush push, and then they won the game on a tight end flanker screen. Tight end is just standing out there, play fake, everything goes right, flare pass tight end, and he goes right down the sideline and scores. Big lumbering tight end.
Well, that's Aztecs defense. Where the hell were they?
They got suckered on the play fake.
Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah,
I mean, New Mexico had 3 plays offensively the entire game, and they won it.
see, this feels like the San Diego FC thing. It's like it's so crushing, when they
Mhm.
lost that and then they got screwed over. I mean, they were robbed. They were screwed over by this computer metric thing. And, it's like San Diego FC. We had a great season. There's some feel good there, but you just, at the very end, it just didn't work. The Aztecs had this thing in the palm of their hand.
Well, they controlled their destiny.
They did. And you can't lose on the road in New Mexico. I don't care about Eck. And I mean, New Mexico has been a disgrace in football since, like, you have to go back to like Brian Urlacher and they were any good. I mean, so
it's just crushing to me. So we'll see. I mean, they're going to a second-tier bowl game, okay? And they've been to Boise, and they've been to the Arizona Bowl, and they've been
Idaho
to
Potato Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the more entertaining of the 3. I'd go up there because it helps you in recruiting.
Well, I'll take 9-3 over 3-9 any day. So a trajectory pointing up. Hopefully next season they're going to be 10-2 or 11-1, and they're going to be leading the charge in the new Pac-12.
But the whole defense is graduating.
So he's got to coach them up, man. We got to reload.
Am I the only friend of the Aztecs that feels crummy about the end of this thing? Hey, thanks for joining us. Good to have you on board, Mike.
Okay, let's go here to John. Talk about this Lane Kiffin thing. Feeling sad for the kids at Ole Miss and Kiffin leaving them for the next gig. But that was Kiffin being Kiffin. How long will he last at Baton Rouge? And thanks again for streaming the East from the Florida Keys to the D.C. Beltway up to Nova Scotia. Is that easier than saying Newfoundland, John?
Unbelievable. John's a San Diegan, served out here in the military, and he and I became friends, and he's moved back to the District of Columbia, and he's a master sports fan there. But, hey, people follow Hacksaw all over the country. But at the end of the day, as successful as Kiffin has been, as I think he's pretty slick in terms of X's and O's, he's also, I think, pretty slimy. So we'll see what happens. He goes to LSU. The pressure points would be a lot harder on him there. But he did a really great job at Ole Miss. That's a program that's been down for a long, long time.
Now, is Ole Miss in the SEC championship? Or
No, they did not make it.
And they're not going to be in the playoff then, right?
Well, no, they'll be in the playoffs.
Yeah. So this was the thing, is I think Kiffin wanted to stick around and coach him in the playoffs.
Yeah, he demanded, I was told by a beat writer that I network with out of the SEC, that Kiffin met for 3 hours with the chancellor and the AD, and they had dialogue. And Kiffin informed them, I'm going to accept this opportunity. But he said, I'd really like to coach my team in the playoffs, or if we got to the SEC championship. Later that night, they did not earn that chance. And the chancellor said, no, if you're leaving, we're going to hire a new coach immediately. You're no longer our guy. We're not going to let you wear Ole Miss gear. The whole world knows you're going to LSU, and you're not going to advertise what you're going to be like at LSU while wearing Ole Miss gear. So I was told the meeting ended badly, and he exited. And he went right to the airport. He got booed outside the chancellor's house. He got booed at the airport. I don't know if he ever said goodbye to his players. He did not take part in that team meeting. There had been a meeting that wound up getting postponed. And then the new head coach, who'd been promoted from defensive coordinator, held a team meeting, and the players came out and said, new era. Hopefully he's going to be able to keep the quarterback and keep the running back, because the chancellor did not want Kiffin poaching kids from Ole Miss.
Oh, he's going to be poaching. Does this remind you of the Bo Schembechler thing with Michigan? When Steve Fisher got anointed back in the day? Because didn't the former coach there go to Arizona State or something?
Yeah, Bill Frieder.
Yeah, he goes, yeah, we need a Michigan man at Michigan. And they said, you're not coaching in the tournament.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting storyline. I can see why Kiffin wanted to coach his guys, but I can also, more importantly, see why Ole Miss would say hell no. But this just proves that the calendar is screwed up. I mean, Kiffin shouldn't have to announce that he's switching teams until after the playoffs and the bowl games are done.
Signing date is Wednesday this week.
See, again, that's screwed up, man. I mean, you got players that are going to be, you say signing date for players,
for
right?
Recruits coming in the front door,
Okay,
not transfer portal.
Okay.
That's in January.
Okay, but still, the whole calendar thing, I know you've been talking about in your best 15. They got to fix that, because it creates these perverse incentives that kind of screw things up for the fans. Because I think as college football fans, we'd love to see Ole Miss go deep. They haven't had a chance in so long, and now they finally do.
Well, I'm really interested to see this quarterback, Trinity Chambliss. He's put up on monster numbers, and his running back, Keon Lacey, he's had huge games running the football, and that's in the SEC. That's real football.
Real football.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Hey, thanks for joining us, John.
Okay, let's go here to Godzilla. He goes, Hacksaw, who is UCLA going to hire?
I believe it's going to be Bob Chesley from James Madison. That guy's a really good coach. They throw the football. He's got quite a track record of success. But how do you sell that? We're UCLA, Terry Donahue, and some of the really great coaches we've had at UCLA in football. And we're hiring a guy from James Madison? You're kidding me.
Well, who are you going to get? You're not hiring Lane Kiffin.
No, that's for certain.
So I think UCLA is just in a different place now, and so you're happy that the successful coach at a mid-major gets an opportunity on the big stage. But, UCLA, we know them. I mean, from an academic, from a research perspective, they are class one.
Oh, upper echelon.
Yeah, uber echelon. And so you want their sports programs to reflect how good they are in all other dimensions of that university. So, hopefully the James Madison guy could do it. But, I mean, who are the other hot coaching candidates?
It was really quiet. I didn't hear a lot about guys. And, of course, they're going through such calamity up there with the whole, aftermath of Chip Kelly, the deficit, the Rose Bowl lease, now the lawsuit, and by the way, bad freaking football and Deshaun Foster. I mean, everything swirling around that program has been so negative since September. And here we are almost, to the new year, and it hasn't improved. And so they got a lot of work to do. But this guy does have a really good reputation.
Have there ever been eras in UCLA football history when they've been better than USC for more than just a year or two?
Not consistently, no. But there were years in which they overachieved, and they were really good. I mean, Terry Donahue, I think, goes down in history as somebody really special. Was there for a long time and did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Toledo had some really good years, but they couldn't continue the tradition. Heisel's hire, as good a guy as Rick is, it wasn't greatly successful. Jim Mara had some success, but then it got away from him and they let him go. So, I mean, they've been on a bit of a roller coaster here for a long time. And there's so much negativity about this school right now.
Yeah, and the Rose Bowl, SoFi Stadium, all of it. All right, here's a kind of an interesting one. This is from Philip. He goes, not sports related, because I have relatives that live on Long Island. My father went to Port Jefferson. They live on or near Bayshore. Where on the island did you live, Lee?
I lived in Northport, up on the North Shore. You're talking about stuff on the South Shore. As a kid, I spent a lot of time down there near you. As a kid, I spent a lot of time at Islip Speedway, which is a great NASCAR track. I grew up as a kid that loved auto racing. But so I know all about the South Shore, Long Island, the North Shore, Long Island. Didn't spend any time out on the Hamptons where the rich people are. And maybe when this podcast becomes a success, John and I will do it from the Hamptons one time. But so that's cool that you bring all that stuff up. I still have friends. I don't have any family back on the island now. I'd love to go back and visit it. Have not done that in a long time. But that's where I grew up. That's who I was.
Now, A.J. Preller is from Long Island too, right?
He's from South Huntington, right next door to where I grew up in Northport.
Interesting.
I give him so much crap about being. He went to Walt Whitman High School. I went to Northport High School.
Oh, those guys rivals?
Oh, you think?
You think?
Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld, I think, is from Long Island too. Do you know where he was from?
No. But it was a great place. I regret now. I grew up on the ocean, and I regret not appreciating living on the ocean. I wish I could live on the ocean here, but I'm not making 1.1 million per year, so I could buy a house there.
No, you're going to need more than that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's go here to Chris.
Phil, good to have you on board.
A huge relief to see you guys doing the show today. Was seriously worried about Saw's well-being after that Aztecs SDFC double whammy kick to the stick over the weekend. The 3 road ambushes really cooked San Diego State, damn it.
Yeah, boy, what a bad emotional weekend I had rooting for teams that I cover and kind of want to see do well. It was funny. I don't get emotionally attached, but I just ached after that Aztec New Mexico football game. And maybe it's because I've come to like Sean Lewis a lot and think his parameters and his program and his blueprint works. I just really, and Aztec basketball, they obviously overwhelmed. And look who they were playing. But that's a work in progress, and they'll get this thing figured out by the time we get to the actual Mountain West opener and we get into the conference. And SDFC, what a spectacular season. But that's a reality. You're an expansion team, and you're playing a team of real veterans. I mean, Brian White and Thomas Muller are really good players at this level. And Muller is a World Cup champion from Germany, my God. So what a great run the soccer team had. So on we go.
Just think about what happened this week for San Diego sports. So first of all, Aztecs lose to Michigan by 40. They lose to Baylor in a game that they probably should have won. Then you have Mike Schilt, getting hired by the Orioles, and then you have the whole Dylan Cease thing with him signing for huge money with the Blue Jays. Then the Aztecs lose to Lobos, and then the Aztecs lose to the computer, for not getting into the championship game.
And Justin Herbert gets hurt.
Well, he's not really San Diego anymore, but the Chargers get, their quarterback gets hurt. So it's been a rough week. At least we had some good food this weekend.
What a funk. I've been in such a funk. But we do cover sports. You need to check my website. I mean, I write so much stuff, regardless of what your interests are. You got to check it every day. Get on that email list so you'll get my newsletter. John created it. We put out a newsletter that is so dynamic. So you can get it by joining Hacksaw's Insiders Group. Just go to the homepage on my website. Just fill it out. You'll really like it. I guarantee once you start to read it, you'll look forward to opening up your email box every day.
It's funny. It's like last night you sent me the content to email out and you were like, oh, sorry, man, it's so late. I just had so much to write about over the weekend.
And John had to read it, and it took so long for him to read it.
It was like really long. But it's like your best 15, which we put in the email format. It's like reading your sports newspaper every morning like I used to as a kid. And then the One Man's Opinion column, which comes out usually at 3:15 every afternoon. That's usually kind of an entertaining column. You're always talking about something going on in NFL, but a more in-depth, more hacksaw opinion. One man's opinion.
Yep. And you're only going to get my newsletter if you just go to the website and fill out the form. It's really easy, and I think you'll really appreciate what we do because we work really hard off the air, so you can do that. But we're glad to have you on the live stream too. Chris, thank you.
Okay, let's go here to retro. USC still a powerhouse, but with all the powerhouse schools in the Big Ten, USC is lost in the shuffle. If they stayed in the Pac-12, USC would be playing in the Pac-12 title game.
Damn right. And it's really good football in the Big Ten. And and they've yet to prove they can win on the road in the Big Ten. Same thing with UCLA. Now, Oregon's a different story. Washington's in the same boat as the Trojans, obviously. The most unique aspect of the breakup of the Pac-12, John, is the guys that have left, that have gone other places are doing well. Arizona State had a really great first season, Big 12. Now, this year's been bumpy because they lost their quarterback. Arizona's really become something in football. And obviously, they're a power in basketball. Those guys are in the Big 12. Utah has done unbelievably well in the Big 12 conference level. So it's fascinating to see how some have adjusted quickly in the Big 12, and the guys who went to the Big 10 outside of Oregon, which is a national power, everybody else is just scuffling to find their bearings in the new conference.
Well, at least Colorado has Coach Prime, so.
But they're also 3-9.
Yeah, they are. But, he's a draw. But, yeah, Oregon has been fantastic. The Huskies have had their moments. But, going Pac-12 I always thought of them was almost like not a power 5. They were like a power 4.5, right before they made the move. Mm-hmm. Now, you even remember that last year of the Pac-12, it was the year of the quarterback, and they had all those good quarterbacks up and down the West Coast. But it's still not the same as SEC or even like the ACC.
Yeah, but there's a lot of heritage and legacy in what the Pac-12 used to be, and that's all dissipated. That's all gone away.
Well, we got Mountain West 2.0 coming. The new Pac-12, the rebirth, the resurrection of the Pac-12.
If you say so.
Okay, let's go here to this is a good one. Yeah, this is from what is this? Durden Joe. He goes, Al Davis is still cursed by the NFL. Hate him.
My goodness. I'm looking for Raider fan out of jail on bail. Please join us in the Fans Forum chat box. How can you be a fan of a franchise that's collective record is 130 wins and 237 losses? That's what the Raiders have been since 2002. Put that down on paper. Tell me how that looks. My God, what an awful franchise. 130 and 237. That's their collective record. I was so excited when Pete Carroll got hired, and all of a sudden Pete Carroll looks lost. And, he's not young. It's not like I'll fix this because I got time to fix it. He's 74 going on 75. How much longer does he want to do this? So what an utter disaster. Can you imagine rooting for a team with that kind of ledger?
Yeah, I still do. I mean, because I was a Raider fan back in the 70s growing up in the Bay Area as a kid. And yeah, it's a terrible time. I mean, but they are so deep in the hole. It's not like Pete Carroll's going to flip it in 1 year.
Yep.
They've had to take steps backwards before they can take steps forward. But it does make you wonder, do you think the Raiders should have drafted Shedeur Sanders? I mean, Geno Smith isn't the answer.
It's a great debate. Geno Smith was a proven commodity because Pete Carroll fixed him up in Seattle. But he can't play behind that offensive line. Nobody can play behind that offensive line. I mean, I'm surprised he hasn't been placed on injured reserve with all the heavy hits he takes. He's been sacked going into that game 41 times and got 5 more yesterday. He's been sacked 46 times. And he keeps getting up to compete. And I feel bad for Ashton Jeanty. You look at him and say, boy, that is a stud running back. That's a power guy. And he's busting people behind the line of scrimmage because they can't block for him. That might be the worst modern day offensive line I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, it seems like that's where they got to focus their draft. But
Yep.
Talk about 2 great tight ends. Isn't that kind of weird? A team with 2 great tight ends. They tossed Jacoby Meyer. They traded him away.
Well, he demanded to be traded. But at the end of the day, you've got the perimeter components, Jeanty, Geno, the 2 tight ends. But you can't protect the quarterback. So you can't do anything offensively because he's getting pounded, and there's no holes for Jeanty to run through. What a disaster.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
And the one constant is Mark Davis wearing his white jumpsuits. My God.
He's usually got a hot-looking woman with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I had no idea he was an NFL owner. Okay, let's go to Richard. Fans Forum. Hey, Lane is a cross of a used car salesman and a big oil executive. Is this the year that the Red Wings finally make the Stanley Cup? This has gone far too long.
All right. Well, and I agree with you that slick. Yeah, that's probably the right word to use to describe Lane Kiffin. And the Red Wings have really rebuilt this thing. Now, they were down for a long time. Detroit did so many great things under, what was their general manager's name?
Matt Millen.
No. I'm talking about the Red Wings, dummy.
Oh, the Red Wings.
Jim Devellano, fabulous player personnel guy. He was the first one that mined all the talent in Europe, and he brought all those guys there. And they had such a great run. And they've been in down cycle for a long time. It's a pretty good hockey team they have right now, but it's a long season, and it is amazing because I kind of follow this. You look at the standings, and the Maple Leafs are in last place. You got to be kidding me. Look at the standings. The Rangers, with all that firepower, I think their home ice record at Madison Square Garden is 2-8-1. Look at the standings. Edmonton is a 500 hockey team, and they've had games where they lost at home, I think 9-0 and 8-1. How is that possible? So it's a long hockey season. But yeah, the Red Wings are on their way back. They've really built that thing. So they've done a good job.
Detroit, man, big Red Wings fans there. I mean, they're a loyal bunch too, aren't they?
Oh, the Olympia. Oh, what a historic old site. It's no longer there.
Well, don't they play at Joe Louis Arena or something like that?
Yeah, I believe so. Or it might have a corporate name attached to it now. But yeah, the Olympia was really something. That again, it got its reputation in the Gordie Howe era.
Okay, let's go here. We were talking about the Raiders earlier. Derek has a comment. Raider fans must suffer from Stockholm syndrome. They love their abductor.
Oh my goodness. How can you be a fan? How can you be optimistic looking at the product on the field? I understand wearing the gear and I understand the repertoire and all the fans in the stands. How could you be a fan of the product on the field and pay those prices to support that product on the field? Mark Davis is laughing going to the bank.
You know, it's all about the tailgate party, Lee.
Yeah.
It's all about, having, that affinity group of all your other Raider fans where you could just, cry in your tears and your cheap beer.
Well, that or you're so stoned and numb for it, you don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's misery loves company, right?
So I was the voice of the Chargers. I mean, the Raider fans were they hated me on talk show radio because I was just on them all the time. And yet we go to the games and walk through the parking lot, and they were so cool. And, Raider fans, we go to the game early. We'd go at 8:30 or 9 a.m. for a 1 o'clock game because we had a massive pregame show we had to get set up for. And we're walking through the Oakland parking lot to go to the tunnel at the Oakland Coliseum. And these Raider fans are out there tailgating at 8:30 in the morning. And a guy comes running up to me, Hacksaw, you want a shot? And, he was 3 sheets to the win at 8:30 in the morning. That's a little early for me. I got a broadcast to do. And then the other one, it came up the stairs at the LA Coliseum when the Raiders were playing there and offered me a joint at halftime. And then, no, I got a halftime show I have to do here. This is during a spot break. He said, okay, man, no problem. And sauntered back. Raider fans.
Everybody wants to party with Hacksaw.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was amazing.
I like those stories.
I could write a book, but it'd take too long to tell all the stuff.
People love stories. If you have stories to share, you should let them rip.
Take too long to write all that stuff.
All right, let's go here to Jay. San Diego sports is miserable.
Oh, what are we in a funk? God, and the Padres are about to lose their pitching staff. Are we in a bad funk? We don't have an NFL team. I mean, my heart aches. And I like Justin Herbert. I have such respect for him as a player and a person. My heart aches watching Charger football because that team should still be here. But so that's where we are. We got to live where we are. We're in the 619-858-760 area code. This is who we are.
It was a rough week for San Diego sports fans.
Oh, John, you're damn right.
It was awful. And, I don't know. Why can't we have nice things? It's just brutal. Thank God the weather's great down here, but
sometimes,
even Cleveland won the NBA championship, with LeBron. I mean, who else has been this cursed? Maybe Seattle, but they won the Super Bowl, you know? I mean,
and they won an NBA championship.
Yeah, that was in the late 70s.
We haven't won anything really of note.
The AFL championship in 1963.
The Keith Lincoln Chargers.
And then we had the San Diego Sockers had a nice run in the Major Indoor Soccer League.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe San Diego State might have won a volleyball championship or something.
Well, the Aztecs did get to the Final Four in the championship game against UConn. So, yeah, those are exciting moments. But, boy, we're in a funk.
It's a curse. Oh. It's worse than a funk. All right, here, let's talk some Mountain West here with HB 949 Sports Jeff. The Mountain West should have kept the 2 divisions. That way you have a head-to-head tiebreaker in your 16 division. Good day.
It's tough. This is a tough thing. I mean, to have 4 teams wind up with the same record and then not everybody playing everybody else, which would be a tiebreaker unto itself. I felt bad for San Diego State. I mean, this defense is nationally ranked. This team beat Cal, and Cal finished on such an upbeat note, beating some pretty good people, including SMU. And the Aztecs did punch Boise and Fresno in the mouth, but they had 3 bad losses on the road, which really worked against them. I hate to say it, but to me, the Mountain West, I thought, just chose the finalist based on a money grab because, obviously, offense sells tickets, and that's why they went with Boise. And how about Boise's backup quarterback? Do you hear about this? Max Cutworth, the kid that they wouldn't give the ball to throw against San Diego State a couple weeks ago because he was inexperienced. He threw for 340. In the last game of the season, he threw for 340 yards. Where did that come from?
Well, he was a walk-on, wasn't he? And I think he was the guy that was the kid that was a big Boise State fan.
Yeah.
And so he transferred there, thought he'd go out for the team, and now he's a start at 340 yards.
In this last weekend start.
Yeah, good for him.
And 2 weeks prior, they wouldn't let him throw the football against San Diego State.
Weirdest things. And by the way, doesn't this make you think of remember before they have the mythical national championship in football?
Yeah.
Because you'd have, in this case, 4 undefeated teams or 4 11-1 teams And that's kind of what the Mountain West devolved back into.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were going to solve all these tiebreaker things and not have to leave it up to some mysterious computer ranking, and God knows who's pushing the buttons for that.
Yeah, and what basement is some kid in the basement's coming up with the computer rankings?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so the whole thing, I mean, the Aztecs got screwed, in my opinion. Okay, let's go here. Let's talk some Dodger ball with Johnny Owen. Hey, if the Dodgers had zero interest in Imai, then why would you call it a snub? Please explain, Lee.
Well, he was asked, are you excited? Would you consider the Dodgers because Ohtani and Yamamoto and those guys are there? And he said, no. He said, I want to pave my own way. I want to beat those guys. I want to prove myself. So that to me was a snub. The Dodgers never got to first base with him. But as John, actually put all the topics there, there's no spot in the rotation for Imai.
Yeah, no way.
I mean, because they've committed. They've told Roki Sasaki, you're going to spend your winter working on your mechanics and getting pitches 3 and 4 in your repertoire up to snuff. So Sasaki's going back into that rotation. So they're 5 or 6 deep, even though Kershaw's retiring. So there was no spot for Imai, but he made the statement, I don't want to go there. I want to beat those guys. So that's where the rumor from San Francisco evolved from, and where maybe that rumor might come, although Seattle's really deep in young pitching. It's going to be fun to see actually where he goes. Price tag's not going to be cheap, though.
Imagine having so much pitching depth that you wouldn't want to be competitive getting this pitcher from Japan. The Dodgers are just loaded.
Yeah, but they have a hole in left field.
Yeah, they need that.
Yeah, and they got a hole in the bullpen, so they're going to spend their resources.
Now, do you still think the Dodgers would take Mookie off a shortstop? I mean, Dodger fans think that's like blasphemous to recommend.
He's a great player. It could solve a lot of problems. If you got Bo Bichette, then you could put Mookie in right. And then you could move Teoscar Hernandez to left where he'd do less damage. He kind of plays right field like there's landmines out there. He just defensively, he's really erratic. But I mean, Mookie is still spectacular. And again, that was linked to the rumor if they get Bo Bichette at shortstop. But that rumor is kind of quieted down a little bit because the Toronto guys that I exchange emails with are of the opinion that the Blue Jays are going to come back in and get Bo Bichette now that they signed Dylan Cease.
You're connected to those Canadian guys.
I got guys everywhere. I did favors for guys, and then I call back and they said, you're cashing in your favor. I said, yes, tell me. So that's how
you guys sneaking around behind the hedges, getting all your information.
Swapping info.
Now, Bo Bichette's knee is a mess, isn't it?
No, I think the offseason will solve all that.
Okay.
There's not another surgery or anything like that. He just had to rush back because he was hurt.
I think Dodger fans are saying that if they did sign Bo Bichette, they'd move him to second base. They wouldn't have him play shortstop. And people think, Mookie is like a demigod, so that they don't want to touch Mookie at short.
Yeah, but the problem is if you do that, you still got a massive hole in left field. You're going to play Tommy Edman in left.
He could play anywhere.
You put a Pages in left and put Edman in center.
I could work.
But the Stephen Kwan rumor is still out there too, because they're rich enough in terms of farm system players that they could move anybody they want.
But Edman's gotten hurt a lot, and he's getting a little bit older.
He gets dinged.
Yeah.
So going to be, I'll tell you what, starting Friday, winter baseball meetings begin. Oh, it's going to be great. Okay. So we're baseball centric on this podcast too. So got to be with us Thursday for the winter stove meeting preview show.
Hot Stove League.
Yes.
All right. More Dodger talk from Showtime. Diaz to LA feels like a lock.
You're talking about the Mets Diaz, but he's asking a ton of money, just a ton. And there was an injury problem last year. His name was really hot when the free agent window opened, but it hasn't picked up any movement since. And then when the Dodgers started looking at other pieces, other places, that's why this Robert Suarez thing has kind of gotten legs. And they still have guys under contract. They're going to bring these guys back. Blake Trinan has got another year to go on his contract, and they're bringing all these guys back. So maybe they won't make a mega payment there. The mega payment might be left field or shortstop. Could be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to find out what they're going to do. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they get a closer and a left fielder.
Right.
I mean, they're going to just do whatever it needs to be done, and they're probably going to make good choices.
But I don't think they're going to go crazy to get both. They trade for Stephen Kwan, then they can spend big money on the right closer. If
They're not going to get Tucker and Diaz, for example.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Interesting. All right. Well, now, by the way, Lee, you pissed off our good friend Aztec Mike. He's got a bone to pick here.
Go ahead.
9 starters are juniors and 1 sophomore on defense. Do your homework before you trash the Aztecs.
And don't forget, the transfer portal is out there and people pay money and players leave. Great defense. My goodness. But I just think that they got such a short end of the stick from the Mountain West Conference. I'm just beside myself at how this whole thing worked out. But at the end of the day, the quarterback has been erratic and the quarterback let him down. And that to me is equally as critical as to their evaluation of what they need to add. So maybe they go back into the portal and find another quarterback. There's a report that they're going to get a commitment from a star quarterback out of Bakersfield who decommitted from New Mexico State. But who knows at this point? But there's no doubt in my mind that quarterback, that coach knows talent and has access to talent. I think Sean's going to do a good job. I don't know. I'd have to ask Aztec Mike, you heartbroken? Does this not feel like a 9-3 successful season? I mean, most people would be of the opinion 9-3 is successful, but I feel really crummy about this.
See, Aztec Mike is as much of an Aztec fan as Raider fan is a Raider fan. I mean, he is loyal to the core.
Well, be realistic about your program, though.
Well, yeah, but that's what he accuses you of not being realistic. He says, you can still get cheap prices to get in a Snapdragon. Hey, this team is really good. They always think that you're downplaying the Aztecs, that you're a negative Nancy on the Aztecs.
We've covered the Aztecs. I've covered them more intensely than anybody outside of the UT. I'm at this press conference. I ask all the legitimate questions at Sean Lewis's press conference, and I think he respects that. And it's not that I have an agenda. I'm just asking for his opinions and his philosophy, et cetera. So I feel so let down. This 9-3 doesn't feel like 9-3, and it should be a feel-good 9-3.
Well, it kind of is. It's like SDFC. It could have been better. By the way, Chris Johnson's going to the NFL, right? Are there any other players on the team that could be drafted?
Maybe 1 or 2 other linemen, upperclassmen, offensive linemen. Unless some guys leave as underclassmen, I don't think there's really anybody else there that's ready. Napier had really a down cycle season. He had such a good start to the season and kind of disappeared in the offense, and then he had the injury, and it's going to lead to surgery. But so he'll probably be back. I don't know. Aztec Mike has to answer the question: how come the community doesn't support the team? Instead of bashing the host that talks about him all the time and covers the press conferences and is there on press row, Aztec Mike, explanation. How come the alums, the Aztecs for life, don't support the team? I mean, they papered the house for that final home game, and what they have, 15,000 showed up in a 32,000 stadium after papering the house, after cutting prices and giving away freebies. Aztec Mike, how come your Aztecs for life don't support the team? You need to give me a response. Okay, let's move on here.
Move on. We're getting near the 2-hour mark.
Oh, yeah, one more.
We'll sneak in one more. Here we go down the list. And what does this say here? Hacksaw. This is from Surf City Bill. Hacksaw, no question, you've been imbibing too much if you think the Mountain West chose Boise State for the championship as a money play.
Well, Boise State's got unbelievable national recognition. You say Boise State, people, college football junkies got to watch that. And Vegas obviously has done a good job rebuilding, do throw the football around all over the place. So did they get 2 marquee teams based on offense? Yes. They really should have considered San Diego State. But unfortunately, the Aztecs are not a sexy name nationally. And that's the problem. Anything Boise, anything Vegas, it's like neon lights. One man's opinion. Hey, listen, we hope you've enjoyed this podcast.